Audiobook, A Tale of Humanity's Resolve. Chapter 00. Prologue. The cosmos had long whispered its secrets, but until recently, humanity had been too preoccupied with its own survival to listen. Through war, famine, and ecological collapse, they had persisted, a testament to their resilience. And now, with Earth restored and united under the banner of the United Nations Space Command, UNSC, humankind had ventured beyond their cradle, no longer confined to a single world. They sought to make their mark upon the stars, but in doing so, they awakened something far older and far more powerful. In the year 2284, the UNSC battleship Endeavour patrolled the outer edge of the Orion Arm. Its mission, to explore deep space for habitable worlds, resources, and potential alliances. No one had anticipated what they would find instead. Captain Aisha Morales stood at the viewport of the bridge, staring into the infinite stretch of stars. Her dark hair was pulled back tightly, and her crisp, navy blue uniform bore the insignia of a seasoned commander. She had been with the UNSC for over 2 decades, part of the first generation to be born after Earth had healed from centuries of devastation. Her crew, some of the finest in the fleet, hailed from all corners of the solar system, evidence of humanity's newfound unity. But today, her thoughts were far from the diplomatic mission they had embarked on months ago. Something was out there. She could feel it, a presence that tugged at her instincts. Morales was a seasoned veteran, and instincts were something she never ignored. "Captain, we're picking up an anomaly at 070 degrees, Lieutenant Johnson reported from his station, breaking the tense silence. His tone was measured, but the underlying edge of unease was unmistakable. On screen, Morales ordered. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a distant, swirling cloud of iridescent energy. It was unlike anything they had encountered before. An unnatural shimmer, the anomaly seemed to pulse with life, a vortex of colors and shapes that defied explanation. "Scanners are unable to identify the composition, Captain. No known energy signatures match," Johnson added, his brow furrowing as he analyzed the data. Morales' eyes narrowed. "Tactical, prepare for a full-spectrum scan. I want every inch of that thing mapped." "Yes, ma'am," replied Commander Idris, the ship's tactical officer, already moving to relay the orders. As the crew worked, Morales couldn't shake the growing sense of urgency gnawing at her. The anomaly wasn't just some spatial phenomenon. It felt deliberate, like a doorway waiting to be opened. Her heart quickened with the anticipation of the unknown. Then, as suddenly as the anomaly appeared, it rippled, and something emerged. A massive object, sleek and dark, shimmered into existence. Its hull was smooth, organic in its design, completely devoid of any of the angular lines typical of human construction. It dwarfed the Endeavour, casting a shadow across the stars. "Alien vessel detected," Idris stated calmly, though his voice betrayed a flicker of awe. Morales inhaled deeply, feeling the weight of the moment. "Open hailing frequencies. Let's see if they're friendly." For all their power and technology, humanity had never made contact with an intelligent species beyond their own. There had been theories, yes, whispers of civilizations hidden in the depths of the galaxy. But now it was no longer a theory. This was real, and it could change everything. The comms crackled, static filling the air for a moment before a voice came through, a voice that echoed within their minds, not their ears. "We are the Zorith. We come in peace. But peace is fragile, human." Morales exchanged a glance with Commander Idris. Telepathy. The voice was disembodied, but it held an eerie calmness that belied its alien nature. "Zorith, this is Captain Aisha Morales of the UNSC Endeavour. We seek peaceful relations and knowledge of your species. Our mission is exploration, not conquest." A pause. Then the voice returned, colder now, more distant. "We know your kind, human. We have watched from afar. Your wars, your hunger for expansion. Peace may be your desire now, but war lies deep within your nature." Morales clenched her fists, anger rising at the presumption. Humanity had fought hard to overcome its darker instincts, to unite under a banner of cooperation. They had come so far, and yet this alien entity reduced them to nothing more than conquerors. "We are not the people you watched long ago," she replied, steel lacing her words. "Humanity has changed. We seek not to dominate, but to understand. We offer our hand in friendship." Another pause. And then, a flicker of light, a strange energy field enveloping the alien vessel. The crew tensed, unsure of what was coming next. "Your words are bold, human. We will test them." And then, the Zorith vanished just as mysteriously as they had arrived. Silence filled the bridge, the weight of the encounter heavy in the air. Morales' mind raced. The Zorith had come and gone, but their message lingered. A test. But what kind? She had a sinking feeling that humanity's worth was about to be judged, and that the stakes would be higher than they could ever imagine. "Captain, what do we do?" Idris asked quietly, his eyes locked on hers. Morales straightened her uniform and met his gaze, her resolve unshaken. "We prepare. Whatever their test may be, we'll face it together. And we will prove that humanity is more than just war." She turned to the crew. "Set a course for the nearest outpost. Alert UNSC command. The galaxy just got a lot smaller, and we need to be ready." As the Endeavor sped through the stars, Morales allowed herself a moment of reflection. The Zorith were right about one thing: humanity's history was stained with blood. But that was only part of the story. They had also grown, adapted, and learned from their mistakes. And if the Zorith were watching, they would see that humanity had more to offer than violence. Chapter 01. The Silent Test. 3 weeks had passed since the Endeavor's first contact with the Zorith. The cryptic warning left a lingering tension on board, and the UNSC was abuzz with speculation and preparations. From high command to the engineering decks, everyone understood that this encounter wasn't just a passing event, it was the beginning of something far greater. Captain Morales paced the bridge, her mind still turning over the Zorith's parting words. "We will test them." Test what? Their strength? Their diplomacy? Or something far more subtle? "Captain, long-range sensors are picking up unusual readings again," Lieutenant Johnson interrupted, his voice snapping Morales out of her thoughts. "It's faint, but matches the energy signature from the Zorith vessel." On screen, Morales ordered, her sharp eyes locking onto the display. The view screen flickered to reveal a distant star system, dominated by a vibrant orange sun and a cluster of planets in tight orbits. But it wasn't the planets that drew her attention, it was the strange distortion at the system's edge, just outside the orbit of the third planet. It shimmered like a mirage, warping the space around it. "Is it another Zorith ship?" Commander Idris asked, stepping forward to study the readings. Johnson shook his head. "No, sir. It's something else. The distortion is too irregular, almost like a gravity anomaly, but there's an energy pulse coming from inside. It's fluctuating." "Could be a trap," Morales muttered, though her gut told her otherwise. The Zorith's test, whatever it was, had begun. And this strange anomaly might be the first step. "Bring us closer," she ordered, "but keep shields at full. I want all systems on standby." The Endeavor moved cautiously through the system, its thrusters humming softly as the crew prepared for the unknown. Tension thickened in the air, but Morales kept her focus sharp. This was more than just an encounter with an alien race. This was a test of humanity's future among the stars. As they approached the anomaly, the ship's sensors flared with activity. Johnson's console lit up with warnings. "The gravity well is intensifying, Captain. Something is shifting in the distortion field." "Steady," Morales commanded, her voice firm. "Hold position just outside the field. We don't know what we're dealing with." Suddenly, a burst of light exploded from the anomaly, and the entire bridge was bathed in a blinding white glow. Alarms blared, and the ship lurched violently as the energy wave hit their shields. For a moment, it felt like the Endeavor was being torn apart. "Shields holding, but we've lost half our power to propulsion," shouted Idris, gripping the edge of his console. "Weapon systems are offline." Morales winced as the ship trembled under the strain. "Damage report?" "Minimal, for now," Lieutenant Sato, the chief engineer, called from the lower deck. "But if that wave hits us again, we'll lose integrity." "Captain!" Johnson's voice rose above the chaos. "I'm detecting a structure inside the anomaly. It's massive." "On screen, now," Morales ordered. The view screen flickered again, revealing the source of the disturbance. Emerging from the swirling vortex was a colossal station, nearly half the size of Earth's moon, its dark metallic surface glistening under the distant light of the orange sun. The structure looked ancient, weathered by time and space itself, yet it pulsed with an alien energy, like a sleeping giant stirring from a long slumber. Morales' breath caught in her throat. This wasn't just a ship. It was a relic, a remnant of a civilization far older than anything humanity had encountered before. "That's no ordinary station," Idris murmured, his eyes wide with awe. "It's waiting for us." Before Morales could respond, the alien voice from weeks before echoed in their minds once again, this time clearer, sharper. Your test begins now, human. We will not interfere. Prove yourselves. The voice faded, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Morales' heart pounded as the weight of the moment settled on her. The Zorith weren't going to attack, they were observing. This was the test. And they had no idea what to expect. Captain, there's a signal coming from the station, Johnson reported, breaking the silence. It's weak, but I think it's a distress call. And there's something else. Another ship is approaching from the far side of the system. Another Zorith vessel? Idris asked. Johnson shook his head. No, sir. It's human. The tension on the bridge deepened. Morales' eyes narrowed. Patch me through to the incoming ship. A few seconds passed before the comms crackled to life. A familiar voice filled the bridge, causing Morales to freeze in shock. This is Commander James Hayes of the UNSC Vanguard. We've been tracking the anomaly for days. What the hell is going on here, Endeavor? Morales exchanged a glance with Idris. The Vanguard was a deep space exploratory ship, thought to have gone missing 2 years ago on the outskirts of the same region. No one had expected to hear from them again. This is Captain Aisha Morales of the Endeavor. Commander Hayes, we thought your ship was lost. How did you? Hayes' voice cut through sharply. There's no time for explanations, Captain. That station is more dangerous than you realize. We've encountered it before. It wiped out half my crew. If we don't shut it down now, it will destroy both of our ships. Morales' blood ran cold. The stakes had just skyrocketed. Explain, she demanded, her voice firm. Hayes hesitated, his tone dropping. That station, it's a relic of a forgotten war. A weapon designed to test species worthiness. If we fail its test, it will unleash a force strong enough to annihilate this entire system. And from the readings I'm seeing, we're running out of time. The alien test had taken on a deadly new dimension. Morales turned to her crew, her expression resolute. All hands to battle stations. We're not just proving ourselves to the Zorith, we're fighting for our survival. As alarms echoed through the corridors, the Endeavor prepared to face the ultimate trial. Morales knew this test wasn't just about humanity's potential, it was about their very right to exist among the stars. Chapter 02. The Watchers. From the distant edge of the star system, the Zorith observed in silence. Hidden within the fabric of space itself, their vessel was a shadow, undetectable by even the most advanced human technology. To the untrained eye, they were mere spectators. But to those who knew the truth, the Zorith were far more than silent observers. They were the keepers of the test, the guardians of an ancient legacy. Zrav, the High Observer, stood at the center of the command chamber, his translucent body shimmering with the soft glow of the star's light. His species had long since evolved beyond the need for physical forms as humans understood them, but in this moment, he maintained a corporeal appearance to focus his thoughts. Before him, a vast holographic display depicted the events unfolding around the ancient station. The humans, proud, defiant, and unpredictable, had arrived, just as he had foreseen. Their ships, fragile by Zorith standards, drifted cautiously near the station, their fates now intertwined with the ancient device they had discovered. We have initiated the test, as decreed by the Council, Zrav spoke aloud, his voice echoing through the chamber, though no words were spoken. Zorith communication was not vocal, it was a merging of thoughts, a collective understanding shared through the mind's energy. Beside him, Alora, his second-in-command, regarded the display with analytical detachment. Her form, a series of fluid, crystalline shapes, shifted as she spoke through the same mental connection. Do you believe they will pass? The humans have shown promise, but their history is tainted. Zrav remained silent for a moment, considering the question. It was a valid one. The Zorith had encountered countless species across the galaxy, each one tested by the ancient relics left behind by the Ascendants, the mysterious progenitors of all spacefaring civilizations. These relics had a singular purpose, to determine whether a species was worthy of joining the galactic fold, or whether they would be consumed by their own destructive nature. Most failed. The humans are different, Zrav replied at last. His thoughts were calm, measured. They possess a duality unlike any species we have encountered before. They are both creators and destroyers. Their capacity for violence is matched only by their capacity for compassion. It is this contradiction that makes them unpredictable. Alora's crystalline form shifted in response, the mental equivalent of a raised eyebrow. Unpredictability is dangerous. Yes, Zrav agreed, his eyes narrowing as he watched the two human ships maneuver near the station. But it is also why the Ascendants designed the test this way. The humans must choose violence or cooperation, destruction or creation. It is not just their strength or intelligence that will be tested. It is their spirit. Allura observed the scene unfold, her mental presence focused on the humans' actions. She could feel the tension aboard their vessels, the fear, the resolve, the uncertainty. The alien concept of morality, so central to their existence, fascinated her. The Zorath had long since transcended such concerns. Their role in the galaxy was clear, to preserve balance, to act as stewards of the Ascendant's legacy. The humans have already begun to turn against one another, Allura noted, her gaze fixed on the incoming transmission between the Endeavor and the newly arrived Vanguard. They mistrust each other. The old habits of conflict linger in their minds. Zrav's gaze remained steady. It is not surprising. Their history is one of division and war. But that is not the only story they tell. Watch closely, Allura. The test is not over. In the holographic display, the Vanguard's commander, James Hayes, continued his warnings, urging Captain Morales to take immediate action. There was tension, yes, but there was also something else, a glimmer of possibility. Morales, despite her initial mistrust, did not act rashly. Instead, she listened. Her mind weighed the options, considered the stakes. Zrav felt a subtle shift in the humans' collective consciousness. Morales, the leader of the Endeavor, was not like many of her kind. She understood the gravity of the situation. She understood that survival would not come from the barrel of a gun, but from something deeper, something more difficult. She hesitates, Allura remarked, her mental tone tinged with curiosity. Most commanders would have fired by now. Fear of the unknown would have driven them to act. Fear is powerful, Zrav acknowledged, but so is wisdom. She is testing the boundaries of trust. The Zoratha's vast collective intelligence stretched across millennia of encounters with other species. They had witnessed countless tests of will, countless decisions made in the crucible of fear and survival. Most species had failed because they relied too heavily on force, believing that power alone would carry them through. But the Ascendance test was designed to measure something more elusive, the ability to transcend fear, to choose cooperation in the face of destruction. On the display, Morales made her decision. Instead of attacking the station or the Vanguard, she opened a direct channel to Hayes, her voice steady, her words deliberate. Commander Hayes, Morales said, I don't know what's happening here, but we need to work together if we're going to survive this. You say you've encountered this station before. Help us shut it down. We'll share whatever resources we have. But this isn't a fight we can win alone. Allura's form flickered with surprise. She extends an olive branch in the midst of a threat? Bold. Bold, Zrav agreed, his gaze softening. And wise. She knows that unity is their only path forward. As the humans aboard the Endeavor and Vanguard began to coordinate their efforts, Zrav felt the delicate balance of the test tipping in their favor. This was the crux of the Ascendant's design, to challenge a species not with brute force, but with the moral dilemma of survival versus cooperation. They are learning, Zrav observed, his tone tinged with approval. Perhaps the humans are not as bound by their history as we once thought. Allura remained cautious. There is still much to unfold. They have not yet passed the final threshold. Zrav nodded in agreement, though his confidence in humanity was growing. True. The most difficult choices still lie ahead. But I believe they will surprise us. As the Zorath continued to watch, the humans on the holographic display worked together, navigating the complex dangers of the ancient station. They encountered traps and challenges, remnants of the Ascendant's deadly technology, but their combined efforts allowed them to push forward. Every step, every decision, was a part of the test. And in the end, it was not the humans' firepower that would determine their worth, but their ability to trust one another in the face of insurmountable odds. We will see, Zrav murmured to himself, his eyes fixed on the unfolding drama. We will see if they are worthy of the stars. And so the Zorath watched, silently hopeful that this time, against all odds, the humans might just succeed. Chapter 03, Judgment. The Zorath ship drifted silently within the void, an invisible sentinel in the cosmos. The humans were now deep within the ancient station, their ships precariously close to the mysterious relic's core. Zrav and his fellow observers continued to monitor every action, every decision made by the human crews. Their time was running out, and the test was approaching its final, decisive phase. Zrav hovered in stillness, his mind linked to the ship's intricate network, which transmitted detailed visuals and thoughts from the unfolding scenario. The humans, driven by desperation, had found their way into the heart of the station, a vast, circular chamber lined with alien machinery that pulsed with energy. The structure, built by the Ascendants long ago, was designed to challenge both intellect and character, testing more than just physical prowess. Their progress is impressive, Alora noted, her crystalline form pulsating with a soft, silvery glow. But now comes the moment that will decide everything. Zrav allowed himself a fleeting moment of hope. Throughout the millennia, he had seen species fail the test at this stage more often than not. Fear, pride, and distrust had led to the destruction of entire civilizations. But there was something different about the humans. Their history, though violent and flawed, was also one of survival, of overcoming impossible odds through unity and adaptation. As the holographic display shifted to show the human teams inside the station, Zrav observed Captain Aisha Morales and Commander James Hayes standing together before the station's control console. Their faces were tense, sweat lining their brows. They had uncovered the central core of the station, a towering obelisk covered in alien glyphs that glowed with a foreboding light. "We're running out of time," Hayes said, his voice sharp with urgency. "This thing is going to overload. If we don't disable it now, the entire system will be obliterated." Morales, despite the pressure, kept her voice calm and measured. "There's another way. The Zoreth are watching us, testing us. If we simply destroy it, we might fail the test." Hayes looked incredulous. "And if we don't, we'll definitely be dead. We need to shut it down now." Zrav felt the tension in the humans' thoughts. They were trapped between the impulse to act quickly and the understanding that a deeper solution was required. The station's power core was rising to critical levels, its energy output spiking in erratic pulses that threatened to unleash catastrophic destruction. "They will fall back on their instincts," Alora said, her tone resigned. "They will choose survival through force, as so many have before them." Zrav didn't respond immediately. He continued to observe Morales closely. Something in her eyes, in the way she stood, conveyed a deeper understanding. The captain was no stranger to impossible situations, but what set her apart was her willingness to listen, to seek alternatives where others would resort to brute force. Morales stepped toward the control panel, her eyes scanning the alien symbols. "We've been looking at this the wrong way. This isn't just a machine, it's a message. The Zoreth didn't send us here to destroy, they sent us here to prove that we could create, that we could understand." Hayes frowned, glancing at the rising energy levels with growing anxiety. "We don't have time for philosophical debates, Morales. We need to act." But Morales didn't waver. Her hand hovered over the console, hesitating before selecting the command she knew would seal their fate. "We need to choose trust," she said softly, though her words carried the weight of a commander making a fateful decision. "If we destroy this station, we fail. If we take the risk and disable it peacefully, we prove that we're more than what our history says we are." Hayes looked at her, his expression a mixture of disbelief and admiration. For a long moment, the air between them hung heavy with uncertainty. The crew aboard both ships watched in tense silence, their fate hanging in the balance. Zrav's presence sharpened, his mind stretching toward the thoughts of both captains. He could feel their fear, their doubt, and yet there was something else. Beneath it all was a spark of belief, of faith in something greater than survival. "They are making their choice," Zrav said to Alora, his mental tone thoughtful. Morales' fingers finally made contact with the control panel. Instead of selecting the destructive override, she chose the sequence that aligned with the station's original design. It was not an act of aggression, but one of trust. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the pulsating energy in the core began to stabilize. The erratic flashes of light slowed, and the entire station seemed to exhale, as if the ancient machinery had finally been given the command it had been waiting for across millennia. The energy field surrounding the station dimmed to a soft, steady glow. The catastrophic overload that had threatened to annihilate the system dissipated, leaving only a calm, serene hum in its place. On board the Endeavour and the Vanguard, cheers erupted as the crew realized they had survived. The danger had passed. Morales stepped back from the console, breathing a sigh of relief. Hayes stood beside her, shaking his head in disbelief. "You took a hell of a risk, Morales," he said, though his tone was far more appreciative now. "But it worked." She smiled faintly. "Sometimes you have to take the leap, Commander. Trust doesn't come easily, but it's the only thing that'll get us through out here." Zrav watched the scene unfold with quiet satisfaction. The humans had passed the test, not through their strength, but through their willingness to cooperate, to trust in something beyond their own immediate survival. They had chosen creation over destruction. They have succeeded, Zrav declared, his voice resonating through the Zorith vessel. Alora's form shimmered in acknowledgement. So it would seem. Perhaps there is more to them than we anticipated. There is always more, Zrav replied, a trace of approval in his thoughts. The humans are not bound by their past as we feared. They have shown that they can grow, adapt, and rise above their base instincts. For the first time in many millennia, the Zorith felt hope for the species they had so long observed. Humanity, despite its flaws and turbulent history, had demonstrated the very qualities the Ascendants had sought to cultivate in the galaxy: compassion, trust, and the willingness to unite in the face of danger. As the humans began to retreat from the station, their mission complete, Zrav issued a final command to the Zorith vessel. The test had ended, and the Zorith would now return to their long watch. But this time, they would do so knowing that the humans had earned their place among the stars. They are worthy, Zrav said quietly, his words filled with quiet pride. The humans have passed the test. The galaxy will soon know of their potential. And with that, the Zorith ship vanished into the void, leaving humanity to chart its own course into the future, one filled with hope, possibility, and the stars. Chapter 04, A New Dawn. Captain Aisha Morales stood on the observation deck of the Endeavor, her eyes tracing the stars that stretched endlessly before her. It had been 2 days since the events aboard the Ascendant Station, but the weight of what had happened still hung in the air. Humanity had faced the unknown, and in doing so, they had changed their future forever. The station, a relic from an ancient civilization long gone, now floated quietly in orbit around the gas giant, no longer a threat, but a symbol. The obelisk within had been deactivated, its once dangerous energies now stable, leaving the station a dormant but invaluable piece of history and technology. Engineers and scientists from both the Endeavor and Vanguard had been poring over its systems, deciphering the alien scripts and mechanisms, eager to unlock the secrets of the Ascendants. Morales felt the slightest pang of awe whenever she thought of the Zorith, the mysterious observers who had orchestrated the entire test. They had left without a word, vanishing into the depths of space, but their presence lingered in the minds of the humans. What other species were out there, watching, testing? And more importantly, what would humanity do with the knowledge they had gained? In the main conference room, Morales and Commander James Hayes sat across from each other, reviewing the latest reports from their science teams. Between them hovered a holographic display of the Ascendant Station schematics, rotating slowly as new data was uploaded in real time. These energy conduits, Hayes said, pointing to the glowing lines that crisscross the station's interior, are unlike anything we've ever seen. They don't just carry power, they amplify it, almost like a neural network, distributing energy in a way that mimics thought patterns. Morales leaned forward, intrigued. A power grid that thinks? Is that even possible? Hayes nodded, excitement lighting his face. Not by our standards, but for the Ascendants, it seems to have been the norm. Their technology doesn't just respond to commands, it anticipates needs. It's like their machines had the capacity to learn, adapt. It's as if they were alive. A subtle hum filled the room as Dr. Evelyn Park, the lead scientist on the Endeavor, joined them, her tablet in hand. It's more than just a power grid, she said, her voice carrying the enthusiasm of a researcher on the brink of a breakthrough. We've discovered that the station's core functions are controlled by a form of quantum computing far beyond anything we've ever developed. The Zorith didn't just test our ability to control machines. They tested our ability to understand technology on a fundamental level. She gestured to the holographic model, highlighting a specific part of the station. This here, the central hub, it's essentially a self-sustaining AI. But what's incredible is that it's not just any AI. It's based on quantum entanglement principles. Data isn't just processed in a linear way, it's instantaneous. The station can make decisions in real time, across vast distances, with zero latency. Morales' mind raced. So that's how it was able to detect our approach and adapt to our presence so quickly. We weren't just interfacing with a machine, we were interfacing with something sentient. Park nodded. Exactly. It wasn't just a machine we turned off. We were interacting with a system that understood us, one that learned from us in real time. This is why the Zorith chose this as the test, to see how we would handle something so far beyond our comprehension. And we passed because we chose to cooperate, not to conquer. The revelation left the room in a brief, reflective silence. The test had not been about force or even intelligence. It had been about humility. Could humanity accept that they were not the greatest force in the universe? Could they trust in something larger, more powerful, without trying to dominate it? Down in the engineering bay, Lieutenant Samuel Briggs worked alongside a team of technicians as they disassembled one of the ancient drones that had once patrolled the station. The drone's sleek, insect-like design was unlike any technology humanity had ever encountered. Its outer shell, composed of a lightweight but nearly indestructible alloy, reflected light in strange ways, shimmering like liquid metal. "This thing's a marvel," Briggs said, running his fingers over the surface. "We've never even imagined material like this. It's almost as if it repairs itself, regenerating any damage over time." One of the engineers, a young man named Patel, looked up from the device's core. "It's not just the material. The internal systems are operating on nanotechnology. Thousands of microdrones working in tandem to perform repairs and upgrades. The drone isn't just a machine, it's a living system. It can evolve based on the situation." Briggs whistled, impressed. "We're dealing with something that's light years ahead of us. If we can reverse engineer this, it'll change everything." "And that's just the drones," Patel continued, his voice rising with excitement. "The energy core inside the station is like nothing we've ever seen. It's using zero-point energy, theoretically infinite power. If we can figure out how to harness that, we're talking about a revolution in energy technology. No more fusion, no more fission. This would make us energy independent for eternity." Back on the bridge, Morales stood before the panoramic windows, gazing out at the station in the distance. The weight of command settled heavily on her shoulders. Humanity had made first contact with a civilization far older and more advanced than anything they had ever imagined. They had passed the test, but the implications were staggering. The door behind her slid open, and Commander Hayes stepped in. He joined her at the window, both of them silently contemplating the vastness of space. "Do you think we're ready?" Hayes asked after a long pause. Morales didn't answer immediately. Instead, she let her gaze drift across the stars. "I think we have to be. This is just the beginning, James. The Zorith, the Ascendants, they've opened a door for us. But it's up to us to decide what we do next." Hayes sighed, folding his arms. "It's a lot of responsibility. This tech we've found, zero-point energy, quantum computing, nanomaterials, it could change everything back home. But it could also destroy us if we're not careful." Morales nodded. "That's why we have to approach this carefully. We need to understand it, not just use it. If we rush in without thinking, we could cause more harm than good." Her eyes hardened with resolve. "But if we're patient, if we learn from the mistakes of the past, this could be our chance to take the next step as a species." Hayes smiled slightly. "You always see the big picture, don't you?" "I try," she said, her voice softening. "Because someone has to." As they stood in silence, the stars glittered with quiet promise. Humanity had passed a test, but the real challenge lay ahead. The Ascendants had left behind not just technology, but a legacy, a responsibility to carry forward the torch of knowledge and unity. Morales took a deep breath, her heart swelling with a mixture of hope and determination. "We'll be ready," she whispered. "We have to be." And so, the Endeavor drifted silently among the stars, humanity poised at the dawn of a new age, an age not of conquest, but of understanding. The universe was vast, and the journey ahead uncertain, but for the first time in millennia, there was a sense of hope. They had chosen cooperation over fear, trust over violence. Chapter 05, The Last Threshold. The Endeavor and the Vanguard orbited the Ascendant Station in the eerie stillness of space. It was the calm before the storm. Captain Aisha Morales stood at the command console on the bridge, her gaze locked on the holographic display showing the alien structure. The crew worked with quiet efficiency, the tension in the air palpable. "Captain," Commander Hayes said, his voice breaking the silence. "We've just received a new signal from the station. It's different this time." Morales narrowed her eyes, stepping closer to the screen. "What kind of signal?" Hayes typed rapidly, bringing up the data. The hologram shifted to show a pulse of energy radiating from the station's core, rhythmic and deliberate. "It looks like an activation sequence," Hayes explained, his brow furrowing. "But it's directed inward, not outward. Almost like it's preparing for something." "Preparing for what?" Morales asked, her tone sharp. "That's the problem, Captain," Dr. Evelyn Park interrupted from her station. "The quantum systems inside the station are coming online, faster than we anticipated. The AI is fully awake now, and it's starting to make decisions. If we can't establish full control, we may lose any chance of harnessing the technology. A ripple of anxiety swept across the bridge. The discovery of the Ascendant Station had brought hope of a new technological age, but now it felt like they were balancing on a knife's edge. Morales stared at the pulsing energy display, her mind racing. Options? She asked. Lieutenant Briggs, monitoring engineering systems, spoke up. We could try to shut it down remotely, but with its AI running on quantum processing, it's already beyond our reach. Any attempt at forceful control might trigger a defensive reaction. What kind of reaction? Morales asked, already dreading the answer. Briggs hesitated. Worst case? The station overloads and causes a chain reaction that could destroy the entire system. Silence gripped the room. Morales looked at Hayes and Park, reading the worry on their faces. They had come so far, but now they were standing on the brink of disaster. The Ascendant Station wasn't just a relic. It was something alive, something ancient and unfathomable. And now it was awakening. Deep within the station, where no human could reach, the heart of the Ascendant machine thrummed with life. The pulsing energy grew stronger with each passing moment, coursing through the station's neural grid, lighting up long-dormant systems. The station was ancient, but its intelligence was timeless. It had observed, it had learned, and now it was deciding. The signal was growing, something beyond comprehension, something that resonated not just within the station, but throughout the surrounding space. It was not a weapon, but a call, a beacon. Back on the Endeavor, Morales' fists clenched at her sides. We need to make contact with the Zorith, she said, her voice low but firm. If the station is waking up, they might be the only ones who understand what's happening. We don't even know how to reach them, Hayes protested. They vanished without a trace. Morales shook her head. No, they didn't vanish. They're still out there watching. They've been guiding us from the beginning. We just need to send the right message. Hayes stared at her, uncertain. And what would that be? Morales turned to Dr. Park. The Ascendant AI. It responds to trust, right? It adapted to us because we chose to cooperate, not to fight. Park nodded. That's what we've seen so far, yes. Then we need to show the Zorith that we're still choosing trust, Morales said, determination in her eyes. We can't try to force the situation. We need to let them know that we're willing to listen, even now. Park frowned, considering the idea. You want to send a signal of cooperation? Exactly, Morales said. But not just any signal. We need to tie it directly to the station systems, show that we understand the lesson they've been teaching us. The room was silent for a moment as the crew processed her words. It was a gamble, one that could either save them or doom them all. But Morales had always been willing to take risks, especially when the stakes were this high. Minutes later, the crew was in action. The ship's communication system was interfaced directly with the Ascendant Station, sending out a carefully crafted signal. Morales stood at the center of the bridge, watching the data stream unfold on the holographic display. This is Captain Aisha Morales of the United Earth Fleet. Her voice echoed through the vastness of space, transmitted across multiple channels. We acknowledge the test you have placed before us, and we choose to continue on the path of cooperation. We will not attempt to control or dominate this technology. We seek only to understand. We are prepared to listen. The message pulsed outward, carried on quantum frequencies that resonated with the station's systems. The energy fluctuations within the Ascendant Station began to shift, the violent surges of power calming as if the ancient AI was listening, processing. Response from the station? Hayes asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Park shook her head, eyes fixed on the readings. Nothing yet. Seconds stretched into minutes, the tension suffocating. Morales held her breath, waiting for some kind of reaction, any sign that their message had been received. Then, without warning, the station's energy levels spiked again, but this time, the pulses were rhythmic, controlled. The core systems of the station began to glow brighter, radiating a soft, almost peaceful light. It's responding, Park said, her voice filled with awe. I think it's acknowledging the signal. But before anyone could react, the holographic display flickered, and the face of Zrav, the Zorith commander, appeared on screen. You have chosen wisely, humans, Zrav said, his voice resonant and calm. We did not abandon you. We have been watching, waiting for you to make this final choice. The Ascendant Station is not just a test of your intelligence or your strength. It is a test of your willingness to embrace something beyond your understanding. Morales' heart pounded in her chest. What is the station for? Why did the Ascendants leave it behind? Zrav's gaze was steady, unreadable. The Ascendants built the station as a gateway to something far greater than you can imagine. But it can only be opened by those who demonstrate the capacity for trust, for unity. You have proven that you are ready. A hush fell over the bridge as the magnitude of Zrav's words settled in. The station was not just an ancient relic or a piece of advanced technology, it was a key. A gateway to what? Hayes asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Zrav's form flickered slightly, as if the connection was being pulled from far across the stars. To knowledge, to other civilizations, to the next phase of your evolution as a species. But be warned, what lies beyond is not for the faint of heart. This is only the beginning. The display faded, leaving the crew staring at the now dormant hologram. Morales took a deep breath, her mind racing. A gateway. The Ascendants had left behind more than just technology. They had left behind the means for humanity to step into a larger universe. Prepare the crew, Morales ordered, her voice filled with quiet determination. We're about to step through. The Endeavor and Vanguard aligned with the Ascendant station, their systems humming with the energy of anticipation. As the final sequences were activated, the space around them shimmered, and the gateway began to open, a portal to the unknown, to the vast, untapped potential of the universe. Morales stood at the helm, her heart steady. This was the climax of their journey, the moment where everything changed. Chapter 06, The Siege of Ascendants. The Endeavor and Vanguard floated in the stillness of space, the Ascendant station looming large before them, a swirling vortex of energy pulsing with potential. The gateway had fully opened, revealing a kaleidoscope of colors and patterns that seemed to dance like living entities. But just as hope surged within the crew, alarms blared, cutting through the tranquility. Red lights flashed on the control panels, and a voice echoed through the bridge. "Captain, we have incoming contacts." Lieutenant Briggs shouted, his fingers flying over the controls. Morales' heart sank as she turned to face the viewports. What had begun as a moment of promise had instantly morphed into a nightmare. Dark shapes emerged from the void, streaking toward them with terrifying speed, ships unlike any she had ever seen. "Classification?" Morales demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around her. Briggs squinted at the screens. "Unknown, but they're heavily armed and moving fast. Their trajectory suggests a direct attack on the Ascendant station." "Reinforcements!" Morales shouted, her resolve crystallizing. "Commander Hayes, prep the Vanguard for immediate combat maneuvers. Dr. Park, get me an analysis on those ships. We need to know what we're up against." As the Vanguard responded, the alien vessels descended upon the station like vultures circling prey. They glinted ominously, their hulls reflecting the vibrant energy of the gateway. The crew of the Endeavor was left with no choice but to defend their newfound allies. The bridge transformed into a hive of activity. Officers relayed commands and coordinated systems as Morales quickly assessed the situation. "We can't let them get to the station. If they destroy it, we may never have a chance to access the Ascendant's knowledge." "Incoming fire!" Briggs yelled, pulling back on his controls as bright beams of energy lanced out from the approaching ships. "Brace for impact!" Morales shouted, gripping the edge of her console. The Endeavor shuddered as a blast rocked the ship, alarms blaring louder. "Shields holding at 70%, reported Lieutenant Patel, his voice strained. "We need to counterattack." Morales ordered, her mind racing. "Fire the main cannons and divert power to forward shields." "Firing main cannons." Briggs replied, a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes as he targeted the nearest enemy ship. With a resounding boom, the Endeavor's cannons unleashed a torrent of energy. Bright bolts of plasma shot forth, streaking across the darkness of space, striking the enemy ship squarely. The vessel erupted in a brilliant explosion, scattering debris in all directions. "One down," Briggs shouted, his confidence bolstered. But the battle was far from over. The remaining enemy ships regrouped, forming a formation that enveloped the Endeavor and Vanguard like wolves circling their prey. Multiple contacts closing in. Patel cried. "They're deploying smaller fighters. Looks like they want to overwhelm us. Keep firing. Hold them back." Morales commanded, her voice unwavering. The Vanguard unleashed its own barrage of energy fire, ripping through the vacuum of space. The fight had become a chaotic dance, with ships darting in and out of formation, weaving and dodging as they engaged in a deadly ballet of firepower. Within the depths of the Ascendant station, the ancient AI watched the battle unfold, analyzing each move with a precision that defied human understanding. Zrav's holographic form flickered back into existence, observing the humans as they fought for their survival. "Your resolve is commendable," he said, his voice echoing within the station. "But this is a test of your true nature." Back on the bridge, Morales clenched her jaw as she surveyed the chaotic battlefield. "We can't just react, we need to take the fight to them," she declared. "Briggs, can we deploy the drone fighters?" "Ready to launch on your command," he replied. "Do it," Morales commanded. "We need to disrupt their formation and give ourselves some breathing room." With a loud whir, the hangar doors of the Endeavor opened and swarms of sleek, drone fighters shot forth, their engines roaring as they engaged the enemy. The tiny ships whizzed through space, weaving in and out of enemy fire, unleashing their own volleys of plasma energy. The tide of battle shifted slightly, the enemy formations breaking apart under the drone assault. Morales felt a surge of hope, but it was short-lived as a massive explosion rocked the Vanguard. "Status report," Morales shouted, dread creeping into her voice. "Direct hit to the starboard side. Hull integrity compromised," Hayes yelled, scrambling to maintain control. "We're losing power to the shields." Morales' heart raced. The Vanguard was taking heavy fire, and if it fell, the Endeavor would be left vulnerable. "Hayes, initiate evasive maneuvers. Get us closer to the Vanguard. We can't leave them behind." As the ships executed their maneuvers, enemy fighters pursued relentlessly, firing beams of energy that sliced through the darkness. Morales gritted her teeth, directing fire toward the nearest ship as it flanked them. "We need to create a diversion," she shouted. "Activate the gravity wells. We can use them to pull some of those ships off course." Briggs nodded, fingers flying over the controls as he activated the Endeavor's gravity well generator. A powerful wave rippled through space, creating a distortion that pulled in enemy vessels. "Got it," he said, excitement in his voice. "They're being drawn in." The tactic worked. One by one, enemy ships became ensnared in the gravitational pull, losing their formations and crashing into each other in a series of violent explosions. The battlefield erupted in chaos as their forces began to crumble. "Keep it up. We're turning the tide," Morales yelled, adrenaline surging through her veins. Just as victory seemed within reach, a larger enemy vessel emerged from the shadows, a dreadnought, heavily armored and bristling with weapons. It unleashed a barrage of fire upon the Vanguard, overwhelming its defenses. "Brace for impact," Hayes shouted, but it was too late. The Vanguard shook violently as it absorbed the hits, and the screen flickered as critical systems began to fail. "Lieutenant, can you hold them off long enough for the Vanguard to escape?" Morales asked, desperate. "We can try," Briggs replied, firing the last of the drone fighters, which zipped toward the dreadnought, peppering it with energy blasts. But the enemy ship was unfazed. "Prepare for boarding," came a crackling voice over the comms from the dreadnought, the enemy commander's voice echoing through the Endeavor's speakers. "Your fate is sealed, humans." Morales felt a surge of anger. "We will not yield," she shouted, her voice filled with conviction. "We will fight to protect our own." With a fierce determination, Morales rallied her crew. "All hands, we need to prepare for boarding action. If they come on board, we'll meet them head-on." The crew sprang into action, arming themselves with energy rifles and setting up barricades. The bridge transformed from a command center into a defensive stronghold. "All units, prepare for boarding. Fight to the last," Morales commanded, gripping her weapon tightly. As the enemy vessels breached the perimeter, enemy soldiers stormed into the Endeavor, their armor sleek and menacing. The crew met them with fierce resistance, energy blasts lighting up the corridor as chaos erupted around them. Morales moved swiftly, her training kicking in as she engaged the first wave of intruders. She fought with a fierce resolve, her aim steady, taking down enemy after enemy as her crew rallied around her. "Push them back," Hayes shouted, firing over Morales' shoulder. "We can't let them take control." The battle raged on, a brutal clash of wills as the enemy attempted to overwhelm the crew. Morales and her team fought valiantly, adrenaline driving them forward. Amid the chaos, Zrav's voice echoed through the comms, resonating within the hearts of the crew. "Remember, humans, this is a test of unity, not just strength. Stand together, and you will prevail." In that moment, Morales felt the weight of Zrav's words. The crew was more than just soldiers, they were a family, bound by a shared purpose. They fought not just for survival, but for each other, for the future they had glimpsed in the stars. With renewed vigor, Morales led the charge, pushing deeper into the fray. Together, they pushed back against the enemy, holding the line. The tide of battle began to turn as their fierce resistance caught the intruders off guard. "Keep pushing. Don't give them an inch," Morales yelled, determination etched on her face. One by one, the enemy's soldiers fell, their numbers dwindling. The tide was turning, and the Endeavor began to regain control. With a final rallying cry, Morales led her team toward the last pocket of resistance. As the last enemy's soldier fell, the Endeavor erupted in cheers. They had held the line. Panting and covered in sweat, Morales turned to her crew, her heart swelling with pride. "We did it. We held them off. Now let's make sure they can't regroup. Prepare to launch all remaining drones and focus fire on the dreadnought." Briggs nodded, his face alight with determination. "Aye, Captain. Launching now." As the drones streamed forth, they swarmed the dreadnought like angry hornets, firing their weapons with precision. The ship's hull buckled under the onslaught, and with a final, deafening explosion, it succumbed to the fury of the united human spirit. With the dreadnought destroyed, the remaining enemy vessels began to retreat, their formations fracturing as the Endeavor and Vanguard regrouped. Morales stared out into the depths of space, watching as the last remnants of the enemy fleet fled into the void. A wave of relief washed over her. "We did it," she whispered, a smile breaking across her face. As the crew celebrated their hard-won victory, Zarav's holographic form reappeared, a look of admiration etched into his features. "You have proven your worth, humans. Through unity and resilience, you have shown what it means to fight for what is right. The Ascendant legacy is safe with you." Morales nodded, a sense of purpose igniting within her. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. The stars awaited, and the knowledge of the Ascendants would soon be theirs. "Prepare for transition," Morales ordered, her voice steady. "Let's see what awaits us beyond the gateway." As the crew cheered, the Endeavor sailed forward into the kaleidoscope of colors, ready to embrace whatever lay beyond, united as one in their quest for knowledge and exploration. Chapter 07. Conclusion. The Endeavor glided smoothly through the vibrant portal, a dazzling array of colors enveloping the ship as it crossed the threshold into the unknown. The crew stood transfixed, awe etched across their faces, witnessing the majestic spectacle of cosmic wonder. For a moment, time seemed to stretch, and the battles they had fought faded into the background, replaced by a sense of possibility. "Captain, we're entering the Ascendant realm," Briggs announced, his voice a mix of excitement and disbelief. The main viewport displayed a breathtaking panorama of star systems intertwined with pulsating energy streams, each one shimmering with the promise of untold discoveries. Morales felt her heart quicken. The knowledge they had fought so hard to protect was now within their grasp. "Prepare for initial scans," she instructed, her voice steady and resolute. "Let's find out what awaits us." As the Endeavor adjusted its course, Dr. Park initiated the ship's scanning protocols. Holographic displays flared to life, revealing a wealth of data. "Captain, I'm detecting numerous celestial bodies, including planets with potential life-supporting atmospheres. There's also evidence of advanced civilizations, structures, and energy signatures unlike anything we've encountered." "Keep the scans focused on those planets," Morales replied, her mind racing with possibilities. "We need to determine if there are any sentient species and whether they are aware of the Ascendant's legacy." Suddenly, the ship shook violently and alarms blared across the bridge. "Captain, multiple energy signatures approaching," Patel shouted, his fingers moving frantically over the controls. Morales narrowed her eyes, recognizing the threat. "Brace for impact. Shields up." The crew instinctively gripped their stations as the Endeavor prepared for another confrontation. Emerging from the vibrant glow of the portal were ships that mirrored the design of the dreadnought they had just defeated, more heavily armed vessels, bristling with weaponry. The enemy had followed them through the gateway. "Looks like they're not done with us yet," Hayes yelled, gripping the edge of his console. "They must have a base in this realm." Morales' mind raced. "Dr. Park, any way to identify the ship types? We need to know what we're facing." Park's fingers flew over her terminal, bringing up holographic images of the incoming ships. They match the design of the dreadnought, but this fleet seems more advanced. They're deploying fighters and heavy artillery. Divert power to the forward shields and prepare for evasive maneuvers, Morales commanded, her heart pounding. "We need to protect the Ascendant station at all costs." The crew sprang into action, preparing for the battle that would define their journey. As enemy fire rained down, the Endeavour maneuvered expertly through the chaos, the crew coordinating their efforts with precision. The battle unfolded in a flurry of energy blasts and tactical maneuvers, the bridge filled with the sounds of determination and resolve. Morales fought alongside her crew, her spirit unyielding. Each successful hit against the enemy vessels ignited a sense of hope, a reminder of the unity that had carried them through the darkest moments. "Focus fire on the lead ship. We need to break their formation," she yelled, adrenaline coursing through her veins. With each passing moment, the tide of battle shifted in their favor. The Endeavour and its crew fought not just for survival, but for the future they had glimpsed, the knowledge and unity that awaited them beyond the conflict. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the enemy fleet began to falter. The Endeavour pressed its advantage, taking out ship after ship. The enemy forces, realizing they could not overpower the united front of the humans, began to retreat, slipping back into the depths of the cosmos. "Enemy vessels are disengaging," Briggs announced, relief flooding his voice. "Let them go," Morales said, her voice steady but weary. "We have more important matters to attend to." As the Endeavour regained its composure, the crew let out a collective sigh of relief. The battle had tested them, but they had emerged stronger and more united than ever. They had proven their worth against overwhelming odds, standing firm against a force that sought to dominate. "Status report?" Morales asked, her eyes scanning the bridge. "Shields holding at 70%. Minor hull damage, but we're operational," Patel replied, relief evident in his tone. "Dr. Park, what's our current position?" Morales inquired. Park smiled, a glimmer of excitement lighting her features. "We're in a new system, Captain. The planets in range are rich with resources and potential for exploration. It's unlike anything we've seen before." Morales took a deep breath, allowing herself a moment of hope. "Set a course for the nearest habitable planet. We need to establish contact with any civilizations present and learn from them." As the crew set their course, Zrav reappeared on the view screen, his expression filled with pride. "You have proven your strength and your resolve, humans. You have faced adversity with courage and unity. The Ascendant legacy is now yours to explore." "Thank you, Zrav," Morales said, her voice filled with gratitude. "We couldn't have done it without your guidance." "The journey ahead will be fraught with challenges," Zrav warned. "But remember, it is not only the strength of your technology that will guide you, it is your compassion, your willingness to embrace the unknown, and your ability to stand together." Morales nodded, understanding the weight of Zrav's words. "We will face the challenges ahead as one. Together." As the Endeavour sailed toward the unknown, the crew felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were no longer just explorers, they were guardians of a legacy, champions of unity in the face of darkness. With the vast expanse of the universe stretched before them, the possibilities were endless. Each star held the potential for discovery, each planet a chance to forge new alliances. Together, they would navigate this uncharted realm, driven by the lessons they had learned and the bonds they had forged. The galaxy awaited, and humanity was ready to embrace its destiny among the stars. Together, they would carve out a place for themselves, not just as explorers, but as beacons of hope in a universe that yearned for unity. Chapter 08. The beginning of a new era. As the Endeavour sailed deeper into the uncharted expanse of the Ascendant realm, the crew settled into a rhythm of exploration and discovery. Each day brought new wonders and challenges, and with every passing moment, the bond between them strengthened. They had faced down adversity and emerged victorious, but the true test of their resolve lay ahead. Morales stood on the bridge, staring out into the vastness of space. The stars twinkled like diamonds against the dark fabric of the universe, each one a beacon of potential. What lies beyond this horizon? She mused aloud, contemplating the future that awaited them. "Captain, we're approaching the habitable planet designated Theta 5, Park announced, her voice filled with excitement. "Preliminary scans indicate a rich biosphere with signs of intelligent life." "Excellent," Morales replied, her heart racing at the prospect of first contact. "Prepare for orbital scans. Let's gather as much data as we can before we make any decisions." As they entered orbit, the planet's surface came into view, a breathtaking landscape of sprawling green forests, vast oceans, and towering mountain ranges. Bright cities shimmered in the sunlight, indicative of a civilization thriving in harmony with nature. "Captain, the readings are incredible," Patel exclaimed, his eyes wide with wonder. The atmosphere is stable, and there are multiple signals suggesting advanced technology. Let's initiate contact protocols, Morales commanded, her mind racing with possibilities. Dr. Park, prepare a message for the inhabitants. We need to express our peaceful intentions and desire for cooperation. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Ascendant Station, Zrav observed the unfolding events with keen interest. The humans have proven themselves worthy, he murmured to himself, reflecting on their journey. Their ability to unite in the face of adversity will pave the way for a brighter future. As the crew finalized their communication, a bright light erupted from the planet's surface, a signal, a response to their overture. The display flickered to life, revealing an image of a tall, graceful being with luminescent skin and intricate patterns that glimmered like stars. "Welcome, travelers from beyond," the being spoke, its voice melodious and warm. "We are the Alari, guardians of this world. Your presence here is both a curiosity and a cause for celebration." Morales felt a surge of hope. "We come in peace, seeking knowledge and friendship," she replied, her voice steady. "We wish to learn from your people and share our own experiences. Together, we can build a bridge between our worlds." The Alari's expression softened, and it nodded in understanding. "Your intentions are clear, and we welcome the opportunity to forge a bond. Our civilization values harmony and cooperation. Together, we can explore the wonders of the cosmos." As the two civilizations began to communicate, the Endeavour crew eagerly shared their knowledge of technology, culture, and history. The Alari, in turn, unveiled the secrets of their advanced understanding of biology and ecology, fostering a deep mutual respect. Days turned into weeks as the humans and Alari exchanged ideas, technologies, and philosophies. Morales found herself enthralled by their insights, her understanding of the universe expanding beyond her wildest dreams. Together, they worked on projects that blended their technologies, enhancing their capabilities and creating solutions that benefited both societies. But beyond the excitement of collaboration, Morales understood that the road ahead would not be without challenges. Rumors of the fleeing enemy vessels lingered in her mind, a stark reminder that danger still lurked in the shadows. "Captain, I recommend we establish a defensive perimeter around the planet," Briggs suggested one afternoon, a map of potential threats displayed on the screen. "We need to be prepared for any incursions." Morales nodded, appreciating the foresight. "Coordinate with the Alari to create a joint defense plan. We must ensure the safety of both our worlds." The Alari were swift to respond, their own defensive systems revealing a stunning array of capabilities. Together, they designed a protective grid around the planet, employing both technology and magic, a blend of science and art that enhanced their strength. As they fortified their defenses, Morales sensed a deeper connection forming between the humans and the Alari. They were no longer just allies, they were becoming family, united in a common cause. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and violet, Morales gathered her crew and their Alari counterparts for a celebration. They exchanged stories, laughter, and food, reveling in the joy of newfound friendship. "Tonight, we celebrate not just our victory, but the beginning of a new era," Morales declared, raising her glass. "May our unity shine as a beacon for others, proving that together, we can overcome any challenge." The crowd erupted in cheers, voices mingling in a harmonious chorus that echoed into the night. Under the starlit sky, hope and camaraderie blossomed, a testament to their shared journey. As the weeks turned into months, the Endeavour and the Alari continued their work, exploring the mysteries of the universe together. They discovered new technologies, shared knowledge about their respective cultures, and celebrated their differences. But beneath the surface of this harmony, an unspoken tension lingered. Rumors of the remnants of the enemy fleet were becoming more frequent. They had not given up, and Morales knew they would return. In a strategy meeting, Morales addressed her crew and their Alari allies. "We must remain vigilant. While we celebrate our unity, we must also prepare for the possibility of future attacks. We have made great strides together, and we cannot allow that to be undone." The Alari leaders nodded in agreement. "We are ready to defend our world, as we stand alongside you," one of them declared. "Together, we will safeguard our futures." The alliance flourished, and they began to expand their reach, forming a coalition with neighboring worlds. As they built their defenses and explored the galaxy, they attracted the attention of other civilizations, each intrigued by the unique partnership between humans and Alari. News of their unity spread throughout the stars, drawing the ire of those who thrived on conflict and domination. Whispers of a looming threat began to permeate the galaxy, an ancient enemy reawakening. One day, while monitoring the star systems, Patel reported, "Captain, we've detected a massive fleet heading toward our position. They're heavily armed and have the same signatures as the dreadnoughts we fought before." Morales felt a chill run down her spine. "It seems they have regrouped. Prepare the fleet for battle. We will not allow them to destroy what we have built here." As the crew scrambled into action, Morales rallied her team, her determination unwavering. "We will fight to protect our new home and our friends. Together, we will show them the strength of our unity." As the enemy fleet closed in, the Endeavor and Alari ships took their positions in a coordinated defense. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation and resolve. Morales glanced at her crew, their faces reflecting a mix of fear and determination, but mostly an unwavering spirit. "On my mark," she said, her voice calm and steady. "We will show them that we are not afraid." The fleet surged forward as the enemy ships entered firing range. Explosions lit up the darkness of space, illuminating the determination etched into every crew member's face. Together, they unleashed a torrent of firepower, defending their alliance with a fierce passion. The battle raged on, each moment a test of their unity and resilience. The crew fought valiantly, employing the strategies they had developed in tandem with the Alari. Energy beams cut through the void, and the synchronized attacks of their forces began to turn the tide. In the heart of the chaos, Morales led her crew with unwavering resolve, her voice a guiding light amid the darkness. "Stay focused. Protect each other, and fight as one." As the last enemy ship fell to their combined might, the Endeavor emerged from the battle victorious. The crew erupted in cheers, their spirits soaring with the realization of what they had achieved together. In the aftermath, as the debris of the fallen enemy fleet drifted in the void, Morales stood on the bridge, her heart swelling with pride for her crew and their Alari allies. "We've proven that together, we are stronger than any force that threatens us," she said, her voice resonating with conviction. Zrav appeared on the view screen, his holographic form radiating approval. "You have forged a legacy, a new chapter in the history of both your peoples." The Ascendants would be proud. With renewed purpose, Morales gazed out at the stars. They had faced darkness and emerged triumphant, and now, the future lay before them, a canvas waiting to be painted with new discoveries and adventures. "Set course for the nearest star system," she commanded, her heart racing with anticipation. "There's a universe out there waiting for us to explore." As the Endeavor sailed into the star-studded expanse, the crew felt a profound sense of hope and belonging. They were not just travelers in the cosmos, they were pioneers of a new era, champions of unity in the face of adversity. Together, they would embrace the journey ahead, writing their story among the stars, forever intertwined with their Alari allies in a legacy of friendship and exploration. And so, the adventure continued, the Endeavor embarking on a new chapter in its voyage through the cosmos, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity and the power of unity across the stars. The galaxy awaited, and with it, the promise of endless possibilities.